They trade for New England Patriots pass rusher Josh Uche, it felt like we've been talking about Uche as a potential trade candidate for a while now, maybe in the offseason, certainly on draft time, now here at the trade deadline. So he moves over from the Patriots over to the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm curious, Ollie, what your thought of this fit is. I think it's, a low-risk type of a trade, where they trade a 6th-round pick for him. And so it's a guy that's had pass rush win percentages. He got a 19% pass rush win percentage this year, had a 12% pass rush win percentage last year, but had 19 the year before as well. He has never had a year where his pass rush win percentage has been low or below 11%. So this is somebody who does know how to get after the passer. And okay, maybe he's not a 3-down player for you. Not so sure the Chiefs need him to be a 3-down player. They kind of just need him to be that guy that can pin his ears back and really disrupt the opposing team's quarterback. So what'd you think of this trade? The Chiefs being quote-unquote all in. And when I say all in, I mean a legit all in, not a Jerry Jones all in. What did you think here of this move from the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, I love this move. They should just keep doing it. I think you throw out all senses of, and I apologize to PFF, but all senses of data and smart thinking of building a football team when you're chasing immortality. And I don't think moving a 6th-round pick for a sub rusher is a bad move anyway. I think all teams with contender status should be chasing that every single season. I think it's a smart move and not an anti-data move, but whatever they want to do, I'm all in for. You get one shot to do this thing. You're not going to have a chance to three-peat again, most likely. So you just go and do whatever you got to do to get it done. And they're interesting this year, the Chiefs, because they got a crazy high pressure rate, right? But they just aren't closing as much as you would expect them to. And Uche just smells to me, and I don't know how you feel, of we maybe will forget about this deal during the season. Maybe he has a couple of key sacks here and there, and then at some point they'll play the Bills and it'll be 3rd down and must have it, and here comes Josh Uche into the backfield and everyone's high-fiving as they get a key stop. That's just what it smells like to me. And people can go through some of the figures this season and say has there been a slight decline in his overall play. Well, as you mentioned, he's been asked this season to play more downs before that they sat him because they knew they were dealing him. They've changed their front structure in New England. He was dropping into coverage more. He was playing the run more. Those just are not his strengths at all. He's a get off the ball, springy, juice, bendy type pass rusher. And the Chiefs have a need for that. They don't really have a true off the ball, juicy guy off the edge. It's more of the power rushers, the muscle rushers, the George Karlaftises, even FAU, who they drafted, right, to be a speed bend type guy. They've actually been using him inside a whole bunch, either reducing the front, playing him head up over the nose. He hasn't been a true bend around the edge guy for them consistently. So I think adding in a guy who will give you that sizzle off the snap, even if it's 20 or 14 snaps a game, just to add to your pass rush mix, that we know that gives us speed and we can build out the pass rush in different ways for what we need. I think it's a really, really smart move.
I'm fascinated by this trade because I don't think there's an edge rusher on the Kansas City Chiefs that weighs less than 255 pounds. Like, I don't think they have one. And I'm pretty sure Josh Uche is like sub 240. Maybe he's right at 240, but if he's not at 240, I think he's in the 230s. So this is a completely different type of player. And not that Steve Spagnuolo can't use him, but it's not like you could say to yourself, all right, they've already got this mold of a player. We've already seen it within the structure of this defense. This is a new player for them. This is a totally new edge rusher. And going back to what you said, it's worth it for the Chiefs to just take these flyers on these players because they're going for Super Bowls. Why not get a player that is completely different than what you have, to where if you get 4 or 5 weeks from now, you're in a situation where maybe teams have figured out. I know this is not going to happen because you don't figure out a Steve Spagnuolo defense, especially one with Chris Jones in it. It figured out the Chiefs, right? They're not getting home. You said they're getting a lot of pressures. They're not getting those sacks anyways. Like, it's even worse a couple of weeks from now. You don't necessarily have an option. You don't have a pitch in your arsenal to switch it up, if you will. Now you kind of do. Now you kind of like, okay, if these offensive lines are going to be so focused on matching power with power because we've got a lot of powerful, bigger defensive linemen, let's throw some speed in there. Let's throw a changeup. Let's throw a slider at him, like whatever you want to call it. And now you have at least Josh Uche in the building. So even if he might not be a regular type of player for you, just even the threat of him on the team as a successful, different archetype of a pass rusher, to me is very, very intriguing. Because, like I said, they don't, whether it's Felix Anudike-Uzomah, it's Leo Chanel, it's George Karlaftis. Who are the other dudes that they have that are backing up the defensive line? Mike Herring is another one. Cam Thomas. Like, all of these dudes are above 250, 255 pounds. So it's just a completely different player here for Kansas City. And I'm really intrigued to see how Spagnuolo used it.
And one of the key things when you see these teams who blitz a bunch or they sim a bunch, I bang on about this all the time. One of the key components of simulating pressure is the shock factor. It's just the speed off the snap, right? Is that you're concerned this guy's really quick. If it's a mug linebacker or a safety, it's like, I'm a heavy set lineman. This guy can move so quickly. If he talks towards me, I got to commit myself. And so if you're playing with really heavy ends, you just don't quite have, outside of Chris Jones being an absolute demon off the snap and concerning everyone, no matter where he is or what he does, just having that initial burst off the snap really helps open up those things. So it could even be as simple as we don't see him have like a bunch of effective plays for a while, but as the collective, as the pass rush, you tried to build out a collective, cohesive, all-around pass rush. Like you said, we can now run different things in the pressure world because we've got a true speed guy. We have a lighter body. Maybe he only plays in sub packages that are 3rd and 10 or longer. Because of the way they want to build a pass rush. But now they've got the change up, they've got the option, they've got the chance to do things differently. And I don't know why the league would not veto this. How are you allowing Steve Spagnuolo to have new and fresh options to throw people? This is unfair for everyone.
Just nobody's allowed to trade with the Chiefs. Like, it's just it's at a competitive disadvantage when the Chiefs can add anybody who has any sort of semblance of talent, which we think that Josh Uche does. So I'm very excited to see how they're able to change up their pitches, if you will, with Josh Uche now in the lineup.